Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to URU. So, the thing is, it's been a couple of days since I last played. We had the things crash, things close. So, there's a little bit of a confusion, I would say, on my part as far as um, what even we are dealing with. I think we've clicked on 2 books. And so I think these books are probably now locked forever. I think that's pretty much the way that goes. If there is some other code around this idea, it's gonna be a while. Like, and it seems like you can click it, but you can't click it multiple times. So if there's some kind of strange combination code on this island, I don't recall any of that ever being an issue. So let's hop back to the place I think we were, which I think is this book. Notice how your character kind of just jumps back to the exact position it wants you to be in. So let's just go to the checkpoint. That should probably be your best bet. It definitely goes to show how if this was an MMO, there was a puzzle game that was supposed to have a bunch of players around at the same time, and yet somehow those players aren't going to just ruin the experience. There we have an elevator, I think, that is automatically summoning. That idea really becomes weirder. Let's see if we can go up higher. Nope. So we'll go back down one, because we kind of skipped some stuff in the previous area. Yeah. Unlike World of Warcraft, where it's just like, hey, let me look up the dailies, and certainly there are plenty of cell phone games, mostly gacha games, that they'll give you daily quests, or free-to-play games that'll give you daily quests. Here, if you take a week or two, you're pretty much stuck relearning everything. Let's see. So she's gonna sit right in the middle of the monitor. And I guess what our goal will be is to see if that does anything, I guess. I guess we want to light up this part here that was not letting us turn. So, does that change anything with the interaction of this? Does this change the interaction with that? No. Seems like what I just did is I closed the door and stopped this. So that seems to recycle that, which then seems to automatically open the door. This seems to shut the door, which there was a symbol over there, but let's see what this does now. I made that blink. I haven't done anything with these buttons yet. The problem with this system, of course, is that it's just a high action system that we've got, where it feels like there might be a solution here to make the people make the basket run into the wall, but that's not really what we're doing here. See, that turned on a light, I think. Yeah. I think I just literally turned on all the lights, which may be useful in some way. This and this, and this won't pull, and this won't go. So when I click that, then am I supposed to run in some way up to this point and jump in the barrel? Because it doesn't feel like there's really a place to do that. And this just goes over there, and that's it. It doesn't have another exit or anything. And it seems like this area is pretty much blocked off. These guys aren't dropping any payload of anything either. So if this was supposed to be a place where water was dropped into this, and that would potentially open this up and reveal something, I have a hard time believing that. Seems when we look out here, we're still just seeing things, and very possibly that these things that we can look at are in part coordinated with the mechanism. We'll go ahead and just hit this again. Which maybe that means we've only clicked on 3 things, and maybe that means that when we were clicking on the other things, it was showing us how many things we had already clicked on. Okay. So at the moment, clicking this doesn't seem like it does anything. In fact, it actually took me out of it. Weird. Yeah, it just seems like it turns on lights. We did switch this part. We can't do anything here. We can switch it so it doesn't go in full circles. That's fairly obvious. That allows that to switch completely. This still won't move anywhere. So then you either want to leave it this way for some reason, or you just want it to keep going. That resets that. So this is probably the drop. If I set this here and this here, let's just see if the drop drops anything. Because I think the general idea is that this is supposed to be a scooping up some kind of fish life or something, and the water levels are just not there. Alright, well, it also might be, in some time-honored history of Myst, it may just be a case of that being a toy and not having anything to do really with the puzzle at all. Unlike Myst 3 Exiles, these puzzles I don't remember. I'm not sure I even did them all. I think I did them, but I may have done them with a walkthrough. There's a lot of room there for different things to have been a possibility at that point when I first played this. All of a sudden this is unlocked, and so down we go. How did we go down again? You just kind of line yourself upwards. Yep, and down, down, down. And I think... Did we drain the bottom part of this? With that controller upstairs? Or was this bottom part always empty of liquid? I think we may have drained this. Interesting. Because we see a lot of plants. And then... I forget if there was a run option here. Let's go and look at the keys. Let's see. First person, toggle, rotate back. Nope. Just no run button at all. There's a jump button. And this would be the elevator going down lower. So I did drain the water. Now it's just a matter of, is there something to click on over here? Or is this just going down deeper? I think it's going down deeper. Into the sewers. So a swamp / liquid world is where this is, with half mechanical. There are variations on the same theme, I suppose, as what we saw in Myst 1, and possibly there is a bit of a problem in the fact that Myst 1 became such a defining situation that they couldn't really do anything different. Like, at no point until sort of in Myst 5 is there really a new faction or a new idea or a new concept, and even then the worlds seem to still very much have to follow the feeling of the first game, and that's really hard to do. I would say you just can't continue to do the same thing and not grow as an artist. This is all rusted out, but then had they done anything different, then that would have irritated people too. And I think more than most games, the Myst series is kind of definable by the fact that it is beholden to its rabid fan base. And that's where I think Cyan as a company specifically made the right decision when they made Abduction. And when they're working on their newest game, Firmament, like, none of that seems like it's going to be tied into the Myst universe. None of it really feels like a Myst game as much as just the next game from the creators of Myst. And there's a pretty big difference there. And then for the rabid fan base of Myst fans, if this series had been made in a modern time, there'd be something similar to a Mario Maker desire to have something where people could make their own code and do mods like Skyrim. And I just don't think any of their technology is programmed well enough for that to work. So, seeing several platforms here in what looks like a prison. Like, it doesn't strike me as a creature comfort. Now in Riven there was a prison that was also turned out to be a secret entrance to the Resistance. but that... Ooh, I may have to look through the window over here and see what went up and what went down. If that's the case, that's gonna be a pain. So let's see if we can just kind of go alternate takes here and run something heavy on this. The idea that the prison would open based on pressure switches in the actual prison is ridiculous. And here's another checkpoint. So we've got 3 more. That's where a lot of these Myst worlds feel very much like games instead of fleshed out worlds. And even Abduction in a lot of ways had some elements that made it feel too much like a game and not enough like a real lived-in world. Of course, you can't make it too much of a real lived-in world because then it would be extremely boring. Is any of this changing? Let's see. This is another point. Like, I imagine in URU Online, none of these bones, which don't really make sense. Like, I imagine none of these bones are in this area, and it really was a puzzle where 5 people would have had to cooperate, if not 6 or 7. And then when they turn this back into a single player experience, that's when they had to put in the stuff. Well, I guess our best solution, first and foremost, is just to put one more thing on everything that's missing a thing, and then run back to the front. Feels like if they had put a panel here that would move up and down, that would be more helpful. And then these symbols seem like they are just kind of prevalent in this world to perhaps remind you what world you're in. So it's 1, then 1, then the last 2. So let's try that. 1, skip 1, 1. And then skip this one. And then skip this one. And then the last 2. No, that wouldn't be right. I need to alternate the other 2. I think the clue is in the balances we're seeing, but it's really not much of a clue. Like, really, there should be some symbols scrawled on each of these panels, or perhaps even on the walls near the panels, something to just show that which of these groups is the group that needs to be an issue. Here, this basket doesn't want to roll. So, are these rocks? No, that's just a bone falling through the ground. Yeah, I would say there's some problems with the 3D physics here. Like, a puzzle like this probably needs a little bit of extra love and attention. You're gonna have to get the items to snap into place and not roll too far. And not sure that that's really what's happening here. So when I walk on this, that one's down. When I walk on this one, that one's down. So that matches this pattern, I think, now. And since that doesn't work, let's alternate everything. So we'll take this one off. We'll take this one off. We will put one on here. Take note how a lot of this stuff is just not any difference in weight at all. This is also weird because the game theoretically has to remember all of this, or like remember every single location of all of this stuff, or it's just gonna decide to decide to activate the switch and then just open the gates, and the gates will be open no matter what. Okay, that didn't work either. So my only other thought, if this pattern we see over here has anything to do with anything, is that we start on this end. So we go 2 here, and then 1 off of this, and then bring the bone back. I think they probably wanted you to roll the bone, so that might be a bit of an indicator. Maybe not. And as things continuously get stuck in the walls, this puzzle is going to get more difficult. What do we do if this doesn't work? Is the next question to ask. And we can just go back to home base. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. And we could go to the next book. We could look around, see if maybe there's something that we would learn from the next book area. It just doesn't look like it's changing. So, is there something we've missed? I mean, we've got this big rock here, and that one's down, that one's up, this one's down, that one's up, this one's down, this one's down, and we're assuming that the gates would then just open, because it certainly doesn't feel like there's any switch or lever to be found. This just looks like a fire pit, and it doesn't look like you can do anything with it. And you can't even pick up the items, which seems weird. Alright, well, let's invert this, because I don't think we've tried that. If that doesn't work, then we're gonna have to go to another book. Because I can't. Well, no, we don't quite need to go to another book quite yet, but we are gonna be very close to that point. If we go back to the main area and check that out some more, now that we changed something on the machine, that might play a role. Come on. Come on, little skull. Stay there. Can we do anything to this bone? Can we possibly roll this? So we go this way. Well, actually, there's a skull already on that, isn't it? So we need to just roll that off. We're gonna have to check this pattern if it doesn't work, just to make sure we did the right pattern. For all we know, though, since we're not getting any feedback, these panels don't in any way connect. Or there's some kind of lever. So this, or something just didn't work. Or I've completely misunderstood all of this, and maybe we need to just stand on a platform for a few seconds, and only one platform. I mean, that might be it. See, we have one down, one up, one down, one up. Let's see. One down, one up, one up. Alright. Let's just stand on the platform and see if anything changes. Unless this is a sound puzzle. Yeah, and if it's a sound puzzle, I may not be able to figure it out without help. Okay. Just stand on one. 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi 5, Mississippi 6, Mississippi 7, Mississippi 8, Mississippi 9, Mississippi 10, Mississippi. If we were supposed to wait any longer standing on just one platform, it feels like you'd get some kind of sound feedback there. All the others of these were up, right? They definitely do sound like they're making different sounds. Okay. Okay, let's see. Notebook. Have we added anything? No. Apparently, I could have just been typing here the whole time. So, let's make some notes. Because clearly there were some things. Prison with switches, and then deny shell many times. codes. Okay. So now I kind of understand what I've been doing wrong with that. We're gonna have this enabled and this enabled. Let's see if we can figure out if this is a rain mechanic. Let's fast travel back here. I think it does just put thatch on the roof. It seems weird to have an Easter egg that just puts thatch on the roof of your building, but whatever. Like, here's that same symbol. I think that same symbol is going to play a role everywhere. So I'm not going to fast travel to that location. Instead, what I want to do is fast travel to this location, and it is easier. Even though this is kind of a slow load for the age of this game, my SSD should be able to handle that just fine. That still is faster. And yeah, we definitely did drain the water here. Oh yeah, I figured out how you move faster. You use the mouse and the keyboard at the same time. Did I lower the water down in this section? I don't feel like I did. Now this is the one that wouldn't work. And it still feels like it won't work. So, what else do we have as options? We have this area, which is nothing. And then we kind of found a way to teleport ourselves to that area, or something over in that area, which seemed like nothing. See, I think this is probably just broken. See how that lantern, like, fishhook section is? So yeah, unless there was a specific reason to go through this a second time, which we'll see. I mean, we stopped it, and then maybe that means something? Okay. What does this control? That probably powers that section. And this probably powers that section. So I'm not sure what turning that off really does. And I feel like turning that would be a bad idea. Yeah, I think that pretty much is getting down to the point where we're either going to need a walk through or we're going to need to find a different way to enter this whole area. Either which might actually be the solution. Like, see if I press this. Doesn't want to go down any further. Fair enough. If I press this, it'll take me back up. And let's see. Look over here. That section is powering things. There's nothing that looks like it would change that angle. And that section is not moving. Doesn't look like anything would change that angle. So I think this area would flood that area again, which I'm not sure there's any benefit of that. These lights I don't think will do anything. This won't pull. This won't cycle. The sun is powering everything except for this part. And if the sun was powering this part, then this would probably do something more. And that cycles it around, opening it again. Yeah. It does seem like unless there's some other switch or tricky little mechanism hidden behind here, that we need more information. So let's go home. There is definitely some weirdness with this game, playing it so solo, playing it in 2020 as I am. It just doesn't feel like it's likely that so many people would have put up with the obscure puzzles and the just bang your head against the wall concept. So yeah, this does line up every time based on the things you've touched. So if I was to click on this seems to say I've found everything already in that area, which is probably not true. But let's press this book and see where this takes us. This may very well take us back to that initial loading section, that first little lobby area. Or this might be an area that is just kind of dangerously perilous. These plants aren't going to hurt you. Although on an alien planet with 2 moons, you might want to be careful of that. But clearly there's a stomp switch here that would close this, and then I don't think it's gonna just shoot you up or anything like as like a jump pad. I know that there was one area in this game where you are kind of walking around near lava, and that does create an issue where you can kind of fall in the caverns and die. Yeah, this is actually it. So there's some places to drop down and then have to work your way back if you're not careful. And this really isn't a game where you want to jump. Remember, we would be looking for handprint signals on these walls and around here. This is a plant slash geothermal world, which is slightly different than the water world. Still has a little bit of mechanical in it. I think the general idea is that since this is supposed to be in the future, almost all the technology is the same technology, and any slight variance in the technology is just a matter of what the raw resources would have been in that specific world to build something. Although why you would need any specific raw resources from a specific world if you're a Deny citizen who's a Dunny, I keep calling it Deny. If you're a Dunny citizen with the ability to teleport yourself all over the place, you probably would have a nice little forest land for all your wood sources and a nice little clay land for all your clay. And since Earth is now involved in this, Earth would be more than capable of manufacturing a significant amount of these mechanical things. Instead of this being built out of wood. There is also a level of just pedanticness that could be here. Like why there isn't... It's all rumbling now. Like why wouldn't a person just use motors and metal and better materials, and why wouldn't these things show themselves to be more useful and more modern in their technology? Alright. So we are here. This might be just a little extra world, because it doesn't seem like there's too much here, and this really may just be around the idea of activating something. The problem with this is we see a waterfall over there, and we see some kind of electrical device over there. I kind of need to jump down to this, and it's silly to do that, and you fall to your death. But that's kind of what they want you to do. Like, this whole world is designed specifically just so that you do that at least once. And we'll run again. They didn't really put the jump where I would have liked it to be, because you would kind of want to be able to do this and make it that way, but it kind of doesn't quite work. I'm probably putting too much momentum into it. think about how this would be if this was an MMO and there was multiple people. You could sit around watching people trying to make this jump over and over again for your amusement, somewhat. Still not really. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get it from that angle. I may just need to walk forward and not jump at all. It may just have enough of an arc in it anyways. That would be funny for a small amount of time until somebody had solved the puzzle, and then that's about it. So I don't know if you didn't do some daily refreshes and reset puzzles, or you do instancing where you see the other players doing things, but every player has to manipulate the things themselves. Like, I don't know how that really works or helps anything. Looking over here, it doesn't seem like this is the same world as the other world we've been on. Inevitably, if this magic existed, and let's just call the linking books magic because that's what they are, you would definitely see linking books to multiple places on the same planet universe. Okay. So here we go. So it either flipped another one, or it flipped them all, or it worked. But you can't get off this platform without teleporting. So it does really feel like that was the first. That was the first world that you should be on. It's very straightforward. There's not a lot of distractions going on here. This has now been flipped. Which probably means a lot of them have been flipped. And we'll have to see. That one's still down. But we need to look around and see if we accomplished anything with all of that. Looking up as such. There's only really one place where it feels like standing on this and getting projected upward makes sense. And if that's not the goal, then I'm not really sure what the goal is, because it's not like these pipes go down and look like they're connecting to anything. See, there's a little blocked off area. And I imagine that's what they want us to do, is jump up and over that blocked off area. So for every one person that did that, I guess there would have had to been several people potentially willing to forego getting jumped upward. Let's see. Looking here and jumping, you can see, that was so programmed. 100% programmed there. That was ridiculous. And again, they're trying to put action into a Myst game. And it's just never going to work that way. And I think it took 10 years of development and poor reception of URU in a lot of ways to make Cyan realize that if they were going to make a action game, it could not be a Myst-like game in any way. And I think that they probably rightfully decided not to go that direction. Compared to other indie video game developers that have come since, a lot more indie developers now actively try to do different things in between projects. They don't want to get typecast or pigeonholed as the company that only makes fighters or the company that only makes side-scrolling shooters or something along that lines. Cyan as a company didn't really have that luxury, being of older ilk. So they made Myst. They got known for making Myst, and then they milked it, rightfully so, for all they could get. But there definitely have been long stretches of time. I don't know if I want to jump down there. Definitely have been long stretches of time in which Cyan has been basically dormant as a company, and they should have probably been taking side projects for other game developers and doing just basic 3D modeling. That would have kept them at least up to snuff with the see, I don't know if I want to click this or not. It would keep them at least up to snuff with the technology. I feel like Cyan probably had a bit more of a struggle trying to learn how to use the Unreal Engine when they made Abduction. Probably very much due to it. Look at these. These are the same type of baskets we saw in the prison. And here we have a rock. And here we have like a torch system that doesn't seem to want to light. And here we have another rock. And here we have some more torches. Would be nicer if this worked, but I guess this one's broken. What we're not seeing yet are any of the markers. It feels like we should have run into a couple of them, unless there's only one marker in this entire area. This is pitch black, so there has to be some trick here. Really? There's... I mean, I could certainly try to run through a pitch black area. I don't think anything stops me from doing that. It's not like I'm gonna die. It's just how I'm gonna have to listen to my feet and turn around. Ooh. This might actually be a problem. Yeah, pitch black. Well, that worked. Is that something? Let's see. The problem is if you're walking into a wall, you really don't know. So what I'm doing is I'm just walking forward and then moving the mouse a little bit to the left. Both right clicking and left clicking in the hopes that that would have gotten me somewhere. And it did seem like it did. Alright. So we've got 3 choices. We teleport, we jump down, or we teleport to the other location. Let's just jump down. Jump down was a mistake. How are we supposed to know that? The game literally trained us previously to jump down to locations. That seems unfair. It also puts you in a terrible position because we found absolutely none of these handprints, which one assumes that none of them are just in the plants. It might be that this whole world only has one handprint in totality because it synergizes with that bigger world. Here we have like a red sun. It feels like it would have been easier also to have not constructed these walls. Like it really does feel like that should have come down after the first move. Right, so forward, forward. I was standing on it. Well, we know this is something probably more important, so let's click on this first. The woven linking cloths tend to have to do with the main girl, the daughter of Atrus. This certainly is Deny, undoubtedly. So there is some part of this here. First of all, we can get a helmet. Second of all, we have a college notebook from somebody named Sam. Pause now if you want to really read any of this. This is backstory stuff, kind of obviously. Backstory of the city of Deny. There are like 3 Myst books that if I was one who read books instead of playing video games, I would be interested in reading, but they're kind of impossible to get a hold of. They were like released in the most recent Myst Specials edition in PDF formats, and that's about it, when really they should just be kind of released all the way out for free, because they don't really have any resale value. They were sold originally as books, yes, but you're not really going to be able to do anything with them or make any sales on them. So this is an area I think we should probably recognize at some point, but it also might just be a case of them not really wanting to make Dunny as large of an area as I think they probably wanted it to be. And we've got these Persian rugs that seem like they almost certainly are from the Earth. And it seems like it is a pretty large just info dump here of information. And the only thing that I can really take from this, since I'm not really reading any of this, is that they had a whole bunch of kings running Dunny. Whereas the Dunny Reconstruction Council, feel like, yeah, I cannot pick up this secondary hat. Already have one, I guess. They feel a little bit more like a democracy. Maybe just slightly more. Here we have a frisbee, which was, I think, one of the old Cyan logos. Here we have a reference to the first game Cyan made, which was not really a game, but more of an interactive experience called The Manhole for Kids. This was using Apple II, like, basically PowerPoint predecessor software. HyperCard, I believe it was called. And I don't know if this is a reference to anything. The problem with the manhole is it's just not a game, so you can go in circles all you want over and over again, and that would have been great to run an app like that on a computer in a library where a kid just gonna walk up there and you want it to know well, this has caught me off guard. Apparently, deny women will only furlough for one deny day every 2 deny months. Interesting. Yeah, if you're running a library back in the 80s and you want a kid to learn how to use a computer, but you don't want them to get enthralled into a game that would take hours and hours and hours because you only had one computer for maybe 100 kids, the manhole would be a great software to have running, have anybody walk up to it at any position in that game, and you are perfectly fine because there's no story, there's no anything. Here's the class structure, so pause now if you want to read about that. A lot of this may, if you read it, may very well be hints at things that are revealed later, either by Myst 4 or Myst 5. Here we have, check this out. I know the DRC doesn't want us to touch this, but I bet Watson would like to know how these register with the doors too. It makes no sense. And don't lose it. I can only barely get it off the wall, and when I did, it was pretty scary. Maybe the weirdest thing is that when I went back later, the cloth I got this place from was intact again. So there's some major magic on these cloths, and it does have something, I guess, to do with the location of the cloths too. It's not just that you can touch them anywhere. It definitely is the case that the Dunny Recovery Council doesn't really understand the magic. It would not really be a great story. It wouldn't be a great story if they really had figured everything out and rebuilt all of the society. You kind of would want to skip all the way through that and set a new Myst series hundreds of years in the future with like science fiction, high-tech, futuristic technology instead, using the magic linking books. Like I said before, if you had a device that could just scan a linking book and add it to something like a cell phone, that would be amazing. So now we have a different foreman's hat. I think, though, that's pretty much all we're gonna get here. And it seems to me like Atrus's daughter wanted us to be able to reach this area. To see this central point, which this might be one of the closest ways to get to the central point. And off in the distance, maybe we can see something that almost looks like a tree. But what we're not seeing here is any of those time codes, because those, I don't think, connect to the main story at all. I'm gonna get myself stuck somewhere if I'm not careful. There's a lot of jumping. And if we show what you look like when you're jumping, it's pretty awkward jumping. You've got a lot of forward momentum and a lot of height. But by the looks of it, no, there isn't anything here. So, homeward bound? Not even a secret element. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of a lot of these areas there are just teleportation places to places where there would be more things to read, and you're really just gonna mess yourself up as far as having a boring experience if you don't try and read those things. It does seem weird though that the books that we clicked on aren't getting added here. That would be kind of nice, but I feel like there's probably more important books or some kind of puzzle around the books that we did take, because there's just no way to drag it down to an inventory spot. I suppose you could transcribe the whole thing into your journal, and the idea of the game being able to do journals is great, but then why not a screenshot? Yeah, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why is there not screenshots showing up in the journal? This is the one we clicked, and nothing lights up. So now we do know that there are 5 pieces in that world. So it is, I think, only fair and honest to say that we may run into a scenario where we have done maybe 60-70% of every world and not completed but maybe one of the worlds, and at that point I'm gonna evaluate and probably use a walkthrough. I'm not gonna probably quit that arbitrarily, but certainly could see a lot of people deciding to quit. And it seems like we got a backpack and we've gotten hats, but I don't even know where the hats are. Like, is it hair? Yeah, hat options. So, yeah, seems like it's mostly hat game as far as all this is concerned. Is that you are just focused around finding hats and accessories that you could see from the back of a player a lot more than looking from the front, although this camera angle is weird. Alright, well, that's been an hour, so no, I do not want to quit. I wanted to come up to this part here, which is the closest thing to a pause, even though it's not a pause. As always, I ask that you like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.